Oh dear. This is the entire opposite discussion that you could go out there and have, because when it comes to the biggest and, let's just say, most vocal trade ship on the market this year, you can kind of rumble around three names. Everybody's talking about Trevor Zegras. Lately, everybody started talking about Rutger McGroarty, and the other guy who has always been there pretty much since the offseason began is Marty Necas of the Carolina Hurricanes. He doesn't get a graphic on this video because he doesn't deserve one. We're not really making this video about Necas. But with all this talk about Marty Necas being a Montreal Canadiens target, or he's a guy that the Canucks or the Red Wings or the Predators or the Flames would all be interested in. We've had so many teams linked to Marty Necas over the past few weeks here that I wanted to go out there and make this video asking about somebody that is also on the Carolina Hurricanes, but who is kind of in the exact opposite situation whilst having some similarities as well. Today we're talking about Seth Jarvis, and I'll say this at the beginning of the video, but I am recording this on the night of Wednesday, July 10th, so by the time this is uploaded in public on YouTube, if Seth Jarvis signs an extension with the Hurricanes, then okay, this entire video is out to lunch, it is inaccurate, and you should ignore it. But assuming Seth Jarvis, who is currently unsigned by the Carolina Hurricanes, remains unsigned by the time this video is posted on the internet, we can go out there and have this conversation. Because Seth Jarvis is a very good hockey player, and he's very young. 22 years old, 5'10", 174 right-handed center winger, and in this previous season's worth of play, in his third full NHL season, Seth Jarvis had 67 points and 33 goals in 81 total games. Add to that 9 points in 11 games in the playoffs, and you have yourselves a package of a young player that is absolutely cooking. Seth Jarvis is versatile, he can get into the right areas, he was so good in the WHL as a point producer as well, but he ended up slipping in that draft year because he was kind of small, at only 5'10". But make no mistake, Seth Jarvis is in a spot where the Carolina Hurricanes absolutely adore this player, and it got to the point that you had Marty Necas put himself in a vulnerable position with the lineup, because now you're seeing all the rumors saying, okay, Marty Necas wasn't really happy with how the Carolina Hurricanes were committing more ice time and more opportunity to Seth Jarvis. Marty Necas, of course, is older and he's been in Carolina longer, so that was seen as somewhat of a slight, and it has bled into the entire conversation of Marty Necas getting traded. But for Seth Jarvis, he is almost in no movement conversations at all, because this is a guy who is so good, and Carolina fans know that he was that good, Carolina management was committing to him being that good, that now it's just kind of in the back of everyone's minds. Oh yeah, Seth Jarvis is going to get re-signed, so what if he doesn't have a contract right now? They'll get it done, we know they will, it's just that easy. Now, with all of this in mind, let's go on to an article published by Emily Sadler from July 9th, so 2 days ago, on Sportsnet.ca. Fueling offer sheet speculation. Here are 9 restricted free agents who are worth watching. Sadler, of course, is opening a can of worms with this idea, going out there and talking about different RFAs from around the NHL that could be worth thinking about in an offer sheet capacity, and Seth Jarvis does show up as one of these names. The revenge play. Seth Jarvis, Carolina Hurricanes. This is never going to happen, right? Carolina has been so clear on how much they love Jarvis, and the forward's production makes him indispensable on a Hurricanes team that's had its fair share of turnover already this offseason. But it's summertime, we're speculating, and we all deserve to have a little fun with this one, right? Just 3 seasons into his NHL career, the 22-year-old is already a fan favorite and has become an integral part of the Hurricanes' skilled group up front. The final year of his ELC brought a major jump in his production to the tune of 33 goals and 67 points through 81 games, good for second on the team in both categories. And his next deal will bring a jump in salary, no doubt. Based on the compensation chart laid out by the fine folks at Cap Friendly, there aren't many teams with the draft capital to make a big money offer to Jarvis. But if you look closely, you'll see a certain bleu, blanc, et rouge logo at each salary tier. A team that could surely use a boost of offense. Sadler is going out there and hypothesizing the idea of the Montreal Canadiens offer-sheeting Seth Jarvis. Something in the maximum capacity territory. Something in the, let's just say, third or fourth tier territory if you wanted to get all intrinsic here. But Montreal is one of the only teams that actually does have the assets to be able to offer sheet a player like Jarvis. And they're one of the only teams that actually would make sense if you wanted to go out there and add a young, talented scorer who's got so much potential heading into the next few years. Now, of course, I get it, you could say every team would want to add that kind of a player, right? Montreal specifically, what makes them so special? Well, it's the idea that Kent Hughes has been specifically targeting players like this who fit into this age range, who have this sort of projectability, and the likelihood of it actually being possible due to the Canadiens being one of the only teams that actually has the capital to make it work. We have noted this in the past, but the Carolina Hurricanes throughout the years have been a little bit penny pinching in terms of giving their superstars contracts. Now, of course, this could all change by the time this video is uploaded tomorrow on YouTube, but for Seth Jarvis, this is a guy who has the right to maybe demand something in the $7 or $8 million range. I get that that's a lot to give to a guy straight out of his ELC who only produced 60 points in 80 games played, but if you think about the potential, you think about the growth from last season to this previous season, 30 goals, 60 points, you can't go out there and dispute Seth Jarvis is absolutely legit. And if you are confident that he is going to be legit, why not shell him out an 8-year deal worth $8 million or 7.5 or something like that? The problem is the Carolina Hurricanes don't really exhibit that kind of a pattern. They don't like giving their young guys huge money contracts right away. They're not Montreal after all. They're not signing Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky to big 8-year deals right after their ELCs expire. But when it comes to Montreal, if they wanted to see if they could give that same sort of a deal to Jarvis, it could be seen as a possibility. If they're able to go as high as the Carolina Hurricanes would refuse to go, then all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier to say, wait a minute, there is potential for Montreal to make a splash here. Seth Jarvis is the exact kind of guy that they would want. Screw Martin Necas. I mean, he's good and he fits the bill too, but Seth Jarvis, you could say he's better, you could say he's younger, you could say he fits in with the Canadiens more, he's smaller too, which also helps. Of course, in the context of the Canadiens, they have some pretty small sub-6 feet dudes compared to other teams. But Seth Jarvis being an offer sheet target was not on my bingo card for 2024-2025 and the offseason before it. Montreal Canadiens fans, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How would you feel about Seth Jarvis being that guy? Screw Trevor Zegras, screw Rutger McGroarty, screw Martin Necas. Go after Seth Jarvis in an offer sheet capacity. Don't give up any assets that are on the team right now. Just add a guy to your middle to top 6. Have him play in the top power play spot and have this team bolstered up offensively to a degree that we may not even have seen in years. Or would you rather send somebody away, trade him to Anaheim, get Zegras, or trade him to Carolina, instead of offer sheeting the Carolina guy, just making the trade for Necas with the Carolina Hurricanes? Of course, offer sheeting only works if the player receiving the offer sheet decides to sign the deal, so you're going to have to overpay anyway. The Montreal Canadiens are one of the only teams in the NHL that actually do have the assets to doing this, and one of the only teams that also makes sense for them to be doing this. So I thought it was an interesting idea brought up on the Sportsnet article. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Link is also going to be in the description if you want to read the Sportsnet piece yourself. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the idea of a Seth Jarvis offer sheet. And if it's Montreal pulling off the old Jesperi Kotkaniemi Sebastian Aho revenge play, will we see a Carolina to Montreal offer sheet sometime in the year 2027 or whatever, just to balance things out one more time? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.